Men, listen closely. Attraction is not just about chemistry or charm. It's also about reading signals, understanding behavior, and recognizing when a woman is genuinely interested or when she isn't. In modern dating, many men waste weeks, months, or even years chasing someone whose interest is minimal or non-existent. The problem isn't your effort. It's that you're misreading signs and giving attention where it's not valued. Women communicate their interest, or lack thereof, through actions more than words. Sometimes the signals are subtle, but they are always there. When a woman is not interested, she will unconsciously, and sometimes consciously, act in ways that reduce engagement, create distance, or deflect connection. Ignoring these signs leads to frustration, overinvestment, and diminished self-respect. This video breaks down the 7 most common behaviors a woman exhibits when she isn't interested. Each behavior reflects her mindset, priorities, and emotional investment, or the lack of it. Recognizing these patterns early saves you from wasted time, emotional energy, and potential heartbreak. More importantly, it allows you to maintain your value, protect your standards, and focus on women who are genuinely receptive to your attention and effort. We'll explore why these behaviors occur, what they reveal psychologically, and how you should respond. This isn't about manipulation. It's about awareness, self-respect, and clarity. Men who master the ability to read interest correctly gain confidence, attract respect, and avoid the frustration of unbalanced relationships. 1. She avoids communication. One of the clearest signs a woman isn't interested is avoidance of communication. If she rarely responds to your messages, takes hours or days to reply, or keeps her answers short and non-committal, she's sending a signal. Your attention isn't a priority. Modern dating is fast-paced, and while people get busy, consistent avoidance reflects disinterest more than a hectic schedule. Psychologically, avoiding communication is a defense mechanism. Women who are not interested naturally distance themselves to prevent emotional attachment or to avoid giving mixed signals. By minimizing interaction, she reduces the chance of connection and ensures her lack of interest remains clear, either consciously or subconsciously. Men often misinterpret delayed responses as teasing, playing hard to get, or as a challenge to increase their effort. This is a trap that leads to overinvestment and frustration. Behavioral patterns are crucial here. If she ignores calls, delays replies, or frequently forgets to follow up, it indicates a lack of desire to maintain consistent engagement. Pay attention to the quality of her responses as well. One-word replies, minimal engagement, or generic messages like okay or haha often signal she is not putting thought or energy into communication. Genuine interest manifests in curiosity, questions, and effort to maintain connection. Men often make the mistake of compensating for this avoidance. They send multiple follow-up messages, overanalyze every delay, or attempt to create urgency to elicit a response. This strategy backfires. Every additional effort reinforces that your attention is easy to access, and it unintentionally signals neediness. Attraction is fueled by scarcity, value, and independence, not chasing someone who is emotionally disengaged. The correct response is observation, boundary setting, and emotional detachment. If a woman consistently avoids communication, it's a clear indicator of disinterest. Do not attempt to force interaction or over-explain your efforts. Preserve your energy for relationships where attention is mutual, responses are timely, and engagement is genuine. Consistent avoidance also has psychological implications. When she avoids communication, she is establishing distance in the relationship hierarchy. Your role shifts from a potential partner to someone whose effort is optional. Men who recognize this early maintain self-respect and avoid prolonged cycles of frustration, while those who ignore it often find themselves over-investing in one-sided dynamics. In short, avoidance of communication is not just inconvenient, it's a red flag. If her messages are consistently minimal, delayed, or disengaged, it's time to reevaluate your investment. Respect your time and emotional energy. Attraction requires mutual effort, and ignoring these signals only reduces your value in her eyes. 2. She cancels plans. Frequently. Another clear sign a woman isn't interested is when she cancels plans repeatedly. Life is unpredictable and occasional rescheduling happens, but when cancellations become a pattern, it communicates low priority. Men often overlook this behavior, rationalizing it as busy schedule or something came up, but consistent cancellations reveal where she places her energy and attention, not with you. Psychologically, frequent cancellations are a way to maintain distance without having to confront her lack of interest directly. If she were genuinely invested, she would make time, adjust her schedule, and show effort to engage. When she consistently cancels, it indicates that your presence isn't essential, and she is not motivated to invest emotionally or prioritize the connection. This behavior is subtle but powerful, and it can undermine a man's attraction if ignored. Men often fall into the trap of overcompensating. They may agree to every reschedule, insist on flexible arrangements, or try to prove their worth by accommodating her repeatedly. While it feels like persistence, this approach inadvertently lowers perceived value. Consistently bending to her cancellations signals that your time is negotiable, and your attention can be accessed regardless of her effort. This imbalance reduces attraction and sets the tone for a one-sided dynamic. Behavioral patterns are critical to notice. Does she cancel at the last minute without apologies or genuine attempts to reschedule? Does she offer vague reasons or avoid committing to alternative plans? Does she consistently prioritize other activities over your time together? These patterns indicate disinterest rather than logistical inconvenience. Genuine interest shows effort, consistency, and willingness to invest time. The right response is decisive awareness. Respect your schedule and value. If she cancels repeatedly, do not bend your priorities to accommodate her behavior. Maintain your standards and demonstrate that your time is limited and meaningful. Emotional independence in these situations signals confidence, composure, and self-respect, all traits that increase attraction in healthy dynamics. Frequent cancellations also carry psychological weight. When a woman repeatedly avoids spending time, she signals that the relationship is not a priority, reducing emotional intimacy and mutual investment. Men who ignore this often find themselves trapped in cycles of waiting and chasing, which diminishes confidence and attraction over time. In modern dating, a pattern of cancelled plans is one of the clearest indicators of disinterest. It's not about occasional rescheduling, it's about repeated behavior, reflecting priorities. Recognizing this early allows men to maintain boundaries, protect emotional energy, and focus on relationships where effort, time, and attention are reciprocated. 3. She shows minimal effort. One of the most telling signs a woman isn't interested is when she shows minimal effort in the relationship. Effort comes in many forms: initiating conversation, planning dates, asking questions, remembering details about your life, or showing genuine curiosity about your thoughts and feelings. When these behaviors are consistently absent, it reveals a lack of emotional investment and prioritization. Psychologically, humans are naturally inclined to invest effort in what matters to them. Attraction and interest are no different. When a woman is not interested, she will unconsciously reduce effort because the emotional or relational reward does not align with her priorities. She may respond to messages with one-word answers, avoid engaging in meaningful conversation, or rely on you to initiate everything. While men often misinterpret this as shyness, busyness, or playing hard to get, it's often a subtle, consistent indicator of disinterest. Behavioral patterns make this clear. Does she rarely suggest meeting up or contribute ideas for dates? Does she show little curiosity about your life or fail to remember personal details you've shared? Does she avoid emotional conversations or dismiss topics that require vulnerability? Each of these behaviors signals that the connection is not significant to her, even if she is polite or superficially friendly. Men frequently respond to minimal effort by increasing their own, attempting to compensate or reignite engagement. This is a common mistake. Overinvesting in a one-sided dynamic reinforces the imbalance and decreases your perceived value. Effort should be mutual. When you continually supply what the other person is unwilling to reciprocate, attraction diminishes because scarcity, value, and mutual respect are absent. The correct approach is clear observation and boundary setting. Evaluate how much energy you're investing compared to what is received. If effort is consistently minimal, recognize it as a reflection of her interest, not a challenge to be overcome. Emotional independence, knowing your value and not overcompensating, is key. Maintain your own life, priorities, and standards without bending to fill the gap created by her lack of engagement. Minimal effort also has long-term implications for attraction. A woman who does not invest is unlikely to value your attention fully, leaving the man frustrated, undervalued, and caught in a cycle of chasing validation. Recognizing this early protects self-respect and prevents emotional burnout. In modern dating, attention and effort should flow both ways. Minimal effort is not about a single instance or mood. It is about patterns of disengagement and lack of prioritization. Men who recognize these signals early can preserve confidence, maintain value, and focus on relationships with genuine reciprocity, mutual respect, and authentic attraction. 4. She avoids physical or emotional intimacy. Another unmistakable sign a woman is not interested is when she consistently avoids physical or emotional intimacy. This goes beyond mere comfort levels or personal boundaries. It reflects her level of investment and willingness to connect. In modern dating, intimacy is a core component of attraction, trust, and bonding. If she consistently distances herself physically, emotionally, or both, it is a clear indicator that her interest is limited. Psychologically, humans are wired to seek connection with those they are attracted to and emotionally invested in. When a woman avoids intimacy, it signals that she is disengaging from the bond or is unwilling to deepen it. Emotional intimacy includes sharing thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Physical intimacy includes touch, closeness, and playful affection. Lack of either often reflects her priorities. She may enjoy attention or companionship superficially, but does not value the relationship deeply. Behavioral patterns make this easier to identify. Does she avoid holding hands, hugging, or sitting close? Does she rarely express affection, flirt, or initiate physical closeness? Does she keep conversations superficial, steer away from personal topics, or avoid discussing future plans? If these patterns persist, they indicate low emotional and physical investment. Her disengagement is not temporary. It's part of a consistent behavior pattern, signaling disinterest. Men often make the mistake of interpreting this avoidance as a challenge to be overcome. They may increase effort, become more attentive, or try to earn intimacy. While it may feel like persistence, this behavior often backfires. By attempting to create closeness with someone unwilling to reciprocate, you lower your perceived value and reinforce a one-sided dynamic. Genuine attraction thrives on mutual desire and shared investment, not unilateral effort. The healthiest approach is observation and emotional detachment. Take note of patterns rather than isolated incidents. If avoidance of intimacy is consistent, it reflects her priorities and mindset, not your worth. Preserve your boundaries, focus on your own life, and avoid overcompensating to draw her in. Emotional independence signals confidence and self-respect. qualities that attract interest in healthy dynamics. In modern dating, ignoring these signs often leads men to overinvest in relationships that cannot provide fulfillment. Avoiding intimacy, whether physical or emotional, is one of the strongest indicators that a woman is not interested in deepening connection. Recognizing it early protects your self-respect, saves emotional energy, and prevents frustration. In short, consistent avoidance of intimacy is not about timing, mood, or circumstance. It's about disengagement. Men who see these patterns and act decisively maintain value, preserve confidence, and focus on relationships where emotional and physical connection flows naturally and reciprocally. 5. She rarely initiates contact. One of the most straightforward signs a woman is not interested is when she rarely initiates contact. In modern dating, reciprocal effort is key. A relationship requires both parties to invest time, energy, and attention. If you find that you are always the one reaching out, sending messages, or trying to make plans while she almost never initiates, it's a red flag. This behavior shows where she places her priorities and emotional energy, and it's likely not with you. Psychologically, initiating contact is an indicator of interest. People are naturally motivated to reach out to those they care about, value, or feel attraction toward. When a woman consistently fails to do this, it suggests that her desire for engagement is low. She may enjoy the occasional attention or companionship, but does not feel invested enough to make the effort herself. This is a subtle but powerful signal of disengagement and can lead to frustration and lowered attraction if ignored. Behavioral patterns make this clear. Does she only respond when you reach out first? Are her messages brief, delayed, or disengaged? Does she avoid asking questions about your life or fail to initiate meaningful conversation? These patterns indicate that she is not prioritizing connection and that her attention is conditional, sporadic, or minimal. Men often rationalize this behavior, assuming she is busy, shy, or playing hard to get. But repeated patterns tell the true story. Many men respond to lack of initiation by overcompensating, sending multiple messages, calling repeatedly, or trying to create engagement. This approach is counterproductive. It signals that your attention is easy to access, reduces perceived value, and establishes a one-sided dynamic. Genuine interest is reflected in mutual effort. Chasing someone who does not reciprocate lowers your position in the relationship hierarchy and diminishes attraction over time. The most effective response is clear awareness and boundary setting. Observe the pattern over time rather than overanalyzing isolated incidents. If she consistently fails to initiate, it is a reflection of disinterest, not a challenge to overcome. Protect your time and energy by prioritizing women who reciprocate attention and invest effort in communication. Emotional independence and self-respect are far more attractive than chasing someone who is disengaged. In modern dating, initiation is a measure of interest. Men who ignore repeated lack of effort often experience cycles of frustration, chasing, and emotional burnout. Recognizing the pattern early allows you to step back, maintain confidence, and preserve value. Mutual effort is essential to sustainable attraction, and a woman who rarely initiates demonstrates that her emotional investment is low. In short, failure to initiate contact is not a minor oversight. It is a clear behavioral sign of disinterest. Men who see this and act decisively protect their self-respect, focus on relationships that offer reciprocity, and maintain emotional balance and confidence. 6. She talks about other men. Another unmistakable sign that a woman is not interested in you is when she frequently talks about other men. This can be subtle, a casual mention of a male friend or colleague, or more direct, such as discussing someone she finds attractive. Either way, it signals that her attention and interest are elsewhere, and your presence does not command priority or exclusive curiosity. Psychologically, people naturally focus on what interests them most. When a woman consistently brings up other men, it reflects where her thoughts, emotions, and potential attraction lie. It is often an unconscious way of testing your reaction or establishing boundaries, but the underlying truth is clear. She is not fully invested in you. Men often misinterpret these mentions as flirting, playing hard to get, or opportunities to compete. But in reality, it diminishes attraction when the focus is elsewhere. Behavioral patterns make this behavior more obvious. Does she compare you to other men, highlighting their qualities while downplaying yours? Does she bring up ex-boyfriends, male friends, or co-workers frequently, even in casual conversation? Does she speak positively about other men in ways that suggest she's evaluating options or maintaining interest elsewhere? These patterns show a lack of exclusivity and emotional investment. A woman who is genuinely interested in you will focus on your connection, not subtly or repeatedly reference alternatives. Men often respond to this by attempting to compete, overcompensate, or demonstrate superior qualities. While it may feel like proving your value, this approach backfires. Attention becomes transactional rather than mutual, and your focus shifts from enjoying the connection to trying to win her attention. This dynamic reduces attraction and lowers your perceived confidence, as neediness and validation seeking replace emotional independence. The most effective response is awareness and detachment. Recognize the pattern and the underlying message. Her attention is divided, and her interest is not fully aligned with you. Do not argue, overanalyze, or try to change her behavior. Protect your emotional energy, maintain your confidence, and focus on relationships where interest is genuine and attention is reciprocal. In modern dating, the discussion of other men is one of the strongest verbal and behavioral indicators of disinterest. Men who ignore it often experience cycles of frustration, jealousy, and diminished self-respect. Recognizing it early allows you to act decisively, step back, and redirect your energy toward women who prioritize and value your presence. In short, if a woman consistently talks about other men, it is not casual conversation. It is a signal of emotional and relational disengagement. Men who understand this maintain clarity, preserve confidence, and avoid overinvestment in relationships that cannot provide mutual attraction and respect. 7. She gives excuses to avoid spending time. The final and perhaps most revealing sign that a woman is not interested is when she constantly gives excuses to avoid spending time with you. This goes beyond the occasional legitimate conflict or busy schedule. If she repeatedly cancels, postpones, or invents reasons not to meet, it signals a lack of priority and genuine interest. In modern dating, time is one of the most valuable indicators of investment, and consistently avoiding it is a clear message. She does not value the connection enough to make it happen. Psychologically, humans are wired to make time for what truly matters. When a woman repeatedly avoids spending time with you, it reflects her priorities and emotional engagement. She may enjoy occasional attention or companionship, but she is not willing to invest in creating real connection or intimacy. This behavior communicates disinterest more effectively than words because actions are far more revealing than explanations. Men often rationalize excuses as bad timing, stress, or external factors. But when it becomes a pattern, the truth is undeniable. Behavioral patterns highlight this clearly. Does she frequently have something come up at the last minute? Does she avoid making concrete plans or reschedule repeatedly without follow-through? Does she offer vague promises to meet that never materialize? These patterns indicate avoidance rather than circumstance. A woman who is genuinely interested will prioritize connection, communicate clearly, and make sincere effort to spend time together. Excuses become a strategy to maintain distance without having to directly reject you. Men often respond to repeated avoidance by pushing harder, insisting on meeting, trying to convince her, or offering to adjust their schedules to accommodate her. This strategy backfires. Each compromise signals that your time and attention are flexible and negotiable, which diminishes your perceived value. Attraction thrives on balance, mutual investment, and scarcity. Chasing someone who consistently avoids spending time reduces attraction and sets the stage for emotional imbalance. The most effective response is decisive observation and boundary enforcement. Recognize repeated excuses as a reflection of priorities, not a challenge to overcome. Preserve your time, protect your energy, and avoid over-investing in someone unwilling to reciprocate. Emotional independence and self-respect communicate value far more than chasing someone who avoids engagement. In modern dating, avoiding time together is one of the strongest behavioral signals of disinterest. Men who ignore it risk frustration, repeated rejection, and diminished self-esteem. Recognizing this early allows you to maintain clarity, prioritize your energy, and focus on relationships where time, attention, and effort are genuinely reciprocated. In short, consistent avoidance of spending time is a direct message. She is not invested in the connection. Men who act decisively, maintain boundaries, and preserve emotional independence protect their confidence, value, and opportunity to build meaningful relationships with women who genuinely want to engage. Men, modern dating is full of mixed signals, but when a woman is not interested, her actions consistently speak louder than her words. The 7 behaviors we've covered: avoiding communication, canceling plans frequently, showing minimal effort, avoiding physical or emotional intimacy, rarely initiating contact, talking about other men, and giving excuses to avoid spending time, are not subtle hints. They are clear patterns that reveal her priorities, mindset, and level of investment. Ignoring them leads to wasted time, emotional frustration, and lowered self-respect. The key takeaway is simple: pay attention to patterns, not excuses. One-off incidents happen to everyone, but repeated behaviors indicate true intentions. A woman who is interested will make time, engage, reciprocate effort, and prioritize connection. If she consistently does the opposite, it is a clear signal that your attention and energy are not valued. Men who recognize these patterns early protect their confidence, maintain attraction, and avoid unbalanced dynamics. Your time, attention, and emotional energy are valuable resources. Relationships thrive on reciprocity, mutual effort, and genuine interest. Chasing someone who repeatedly signals disinterest diminishes your value and fosters frustration. Acting decisively, stepping back, maintaining boundaries, and focusing on connections that are aligned with your standards is the path to emotional independence and respect. In modern dating, clarity is power. Recognizing the behaviors of disinterest allows men to preserve self-respect, maintain value, and invest in relationships where attention and affection are genuinely reciprocated. Do not rationalize, overanalyze, or try to force engagement. Respect your own priorities and focus on women who demonstrate real interest and commitment. In short, these 7 behaviors are not challenges, they are signals. Men who observe, understand, and act accordingly maintain confidence, protect emotional energy, and position themselves for fulfilling, balanced relationships. Your value is not negotiable, and the women who recognize and reciprocate it are the ones worth your time.